First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the size of this image so it's easier for us to work with here in the tutorial, but otherwise you might want to leave the image size as big as possible. So I was thinking I'm just going to make this square so it fits in a little bit better. And I'm going to move it slightly like this. There we go. Perfect. Now what I like to do is I like to see what kind of adjustments Photoshop gives me. I don't stick with them, but like this watercolor, all it did is basically pump up the contrast a little bit, and it looks okay with it. Auto contrast basically did the same thing. I go into levels. So I did a shortcut on my Mac. It's Option Command L, but you can also go to the menu bar under Image, Adjustments, and Levels. Oh, I guess it's just Command L. Alright. This is where I play around with the smaller adjustments once more as a final touch-up. So I'm lightening up the midtones a little bit. Adding a little bit of highlight. This is that dark and light, so you can make this less bright on this end. You can make it less dark on this end. So once again, that vintage effect that you might like, this is where you would achieve it. Go about 3, and then I still darken it up a little bit on this end. Okay. Slightly brighter. Certain things like these creases, I'll clean them up. This was a hotel breakfast. I didn't really ask them to press the cloth, and that was totally okay. It was a quick snap. So I'll just, the super obvious ones, I'll try to kind of smooth out. Like this. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't aim for things to be perfect. I actually like them a little bit rough around the edges because I feel like that's a little bit more interesting. But it's all up to you and depends on your style of photography, what you like doing. So there, that's that. Super quick edit. Now here is something really cool. So you can either go into your layers or you can go into the image mode. I like to do it through layers. Click on this little thing over here and you do selective color. And I already have a few presets here that I like using. And it adjusts all of the colors based on my presets, like this cool tone. Magenta tinge is for a little bit different thing. Again, if you have a different different image types produce different results. So this cool tone actually works pretty well with this. But let me reset it back to default. And what you can do here is you control every single aspect of your image. I typically go to the blacks. So once again, I'll lighten it up just a slight bit. The whites right here, as you can see, goes more yellow. Oh, I'm on the yellow slider. More yellow or more blue. The less yellow you have, the more blue comes out. So I typically decrease it slightly to give it a little bit more blue. So -5%, Magenta, that's what it does. I like having a little bit of magenta, but I usually don't add too much of it. If I add anything at all, it's a +1 or so. And then cyan. So becomes more green or more red. More cyan, more red. Again, I don't typically play around with this too much, if at all. I will put it on either 0 or +1. Let's leave it 0 for now. Neutrals is another big one that will give you the biggest changes in your photos. If you remove the blacks, obviously it makes your photo much lighter. So you have a lot more, you have a more romantic photo in this feel, or you have something much darker and moodier if you increase the contrast, or increase the black, sorry. So for this image in particular, I want to remove some of the darker tones. It's much airier, so let's put it -20, the yellow -2, magenta, I'll do it +1, and then cyan, I don't want the red tinge, so I'll put +1. White, same concept. You can remove a lot of the shadows from your white tones. You can remove a lot, you make it much more brighter, or much brighter. I'll remove a little bit, and you can see the changes that we've made so far. That's with the selected color. And I want to go into the blues. So the black slider over here, oh, no, we removed a lot of the blues, so never mind. Typically in the blacks, or in the blues and the shadows, this would become darker or lighter depending. So let's see, we have some yellows in here. We can make them lighter or darker. I want to go ahead and create a little bit of a vintage feel and make it a little bit darker. And we can remove some of that yellowness from the food and make it a little bit more neutral. I don't mind it being yellow, but for the purposes of this, I'll remove it to create more of a bleached effect that we're looking for. Magentas, do we have any? We don't. Reds, we definitely have something right here. Like tomato juice. Again, everything's controlled through here. I'm going to go back to the blacks. This is looking too light for me now. I'm just going to pump this up. And I'm going to decrease this to that. And add that. Alright. That's our adjustment layer. And you can remove it or put it on top of your image. Now, if you change the image, your adjustment layer will still stay the same. So at this point, you can play around and make this as dark or as light as you want it to be. Another option is also going into your curves. You can also make a curves layer, so you don't do it through here. But you can do your curves. You can make that brighter, that a little darker to increase the contrast. Let's play with the midtones a little bit and give it a little bit more oomph for the shadows. Instead, this is more of my style. Making it a little darker. Like that. Now, I don't like losing my detail in the shadows, but I do like to have detail in the midtones. So I don't like losing the detail in the light or in the dark, if that makes sense. Alright, click OK. And makes this a little brighter. And we're good to go. This has been bothering me a little bit. Let me straighten it again. There we go. And that's the final bleach effect image.